we are going to start before Diggs became a Knight of the Order of the Crescent.
Cool.
No matter how many times Orren keeps telling you that this is just a normal training session, you know that it isn't. Because this is the last training session that you are going to have before you take the test of the Order, which will allow you to become a fully fledged Knight of the Crescent. You and Orren, the knight that you are squiring under, are in the arena in which this test is going to take place 2 days from now. And you're going through the regular trials, you're doing the feats of strength as you flip over the log, you go through basic combat training, just things like that. And you're just going through it and kind of having this conversation overall. Right. How does Diggs feel in this moment?
Oh boy, old man, it's time for me to finally get you off of my back. Finally can be on my own to get my own glory.
Don't talk so big yet, Diggs. You still haven't passed the test.
I mean, with all I've proven myself so far, it's basically just written in stone. Already got this in the bag. What's left? Give me your best shot.
Orren kind of nods his head over to the left as you see a large log on the other side. He says, "Toss the big one. Not the one that you normally toss. The big one."
Well, how big is the big one?
It is bigger than it is basically, it's not a full-size tree trunk or anything, because trees are huge, and you are not as big as a tree, clearly, in this, within this realm, you are not as big as a tree. So, I mean, it's just, there's a standard size, and there's a training size, which is smaller than the standard size, but larger than the standard size is a bigger log. And Orren wants you to flip it. Orren wants you to balance it and then flip it all the way over.
So Diggs takes like a good squatting position. So like feet flat on the ground, like basically his whole body all the way like down touching the grass, and he puts both of his hands underneath the log and he's gonna try to flip from like end over end. Is that a physique roll?
Yes, this would be 4DF plus your physique modifier, which for you is +3.
As being a badger, I'm a big burly folk. Oh.
And you roll a total of a 4. As you take your squat and you heave with your legs and then your arms, and then the log flips completely over and then onto the other end and it falls, and you've completely flipped over the entire giant log.
Okay, I was just warming up, so where's the big one?
Ha! Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, Diggs. It was impressive. It's a feat of strength, but not what we do in the Order of the Crescent. And then you watch as Orren walks over and picks up the log, the same log that you just flipped, but has one hand underneath it and flips it without any squatting or anything. Pure upper body strength. Flips it end over end, just like you did, but with one arm.
Looks like you still got a little barking left in you, old man. That was pretty nice.
And that's the point, isn't it? Look, Diggs. You're going to become a Knight of the Order of the Crescent tomorrow. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But, are you going to become the greatest Knight of the Order of the Crescent tomorrow? Are you going to give the crowd what they want? Are you going to compete for fame and glory? Or are you going to compete for mediocrity?
I feel like that's fairly obvious, sir. For fame and glory. And I always give the audience what they want. And he kind of gives a little wink at that.
Well, I guess we'll have to see about that. I think we're done for today. And then he walks away.
Oh, okay. Bye!
He waves, like, behind him without actually looking back. And he just leaves you be. The next time you see Orren is as the Master of Ceremonies at the Test of the Order, where you and the other knights who are of age and ready to take this test all take it at the same time. He doesn't really talk to you, but as he gives his speech, he does kind of give you a few winks at the points where these great recruits will show exactly what they are made of. And then, like, he gives you a wink and little things like that. And you, of course, ace it. I don't think we have to go through Your aspect already says you're a Knight of the Order of the Crescent. We all know that you did great. And you know what? It was pretty easy for you. I think you took on the trick of like flipping the log with one hand, considering it's not the big log, you're using the standard log, right? And things like that. You always kind of have a flare at the end. What does Diggs do to like make himself showy?
As soon as he flips the log, the arm that's still up in the air, he kind of curls it, and in like a complete opposite to the other one, he kind of flexes both biceps and just kind of keeps like turning back and forth. And eventually ending with like arms kind of crossed like that was nothing.
And what about in the melee, where you're fighting the other recruits?
I feel like Diggs' like big show-offy thing is that he always likes to go for big throws. So if he's like in a melee, he would always like kind of grab the person and do like a full-on shoulder throw, so like both feet are up in the air and there's like a satisfying slam on the ground in a big melee.
I dig it. I think that's how you end the entire melee, right? It's you and the last recruit, which is Hare, and he's very quick. He gets around you a few times. You try to grab him, you can't really get him, but then once you do, you basically like suplex him and then just like throw him out of the ring completely. And the crowd just stands up and starts screaming because you are the most promising knight that has ever been sired through this order since Orren, of course.
He definitely tries to find Orren in the crowd, and he just kind of starts giving him a big little flex. Just kind of show off a little bit, like, I told you, old man, I'm going to be doing it for the fame and glory.
And you can see him stifling a laugh behind the, I guess not a microphone, this is a fantasy setting.
And then they just kind of pop out from underneath their like little podiums.
Right, and he nods, he laughs, and he's happy. You can tell he's satisfied with your performance. And then you go to the feast. And everybody is talking about how great Diggs is. Not Diggs the Bold, just Sir Diggs, which is exactly who you are right now. You are finally a Knight of the Order of the Crescent. And tomorrow, you are going to get your first big mission. Yeah.
What kind of... So, like, I feel like a lot of, like, Knight Orders have, like, an emblem. Is mine just going to be, like, a crescent moon? Or do we want to, like, be, like, since this is more of a agricultural kind of society, would it be, like, almost like maybe like a cornucopia kind of crescent?
I think that maybe it's a crescent moon with two, like, scythes crossing.
Oh, that's
like farming
really cool.
equipment, right? So crescent moon and then some farming equipment just across.
I like that a lot.
Okay, that's what we're going with.
Cool.
So you get your emblem. It's new because now you have new knight equipment rather than squire equipment. And you put it on in the morning and you go to the Great Hall to get your first mission as a fully fledged Knight of the Order of the Crescent.
Diggs is definitely kind of like bouncing on each foot. He's like really excited for this. Like he's been waiting his whole life. And as he's going up to like the quest giver, he's just kind of bouncing back and forth from leg to leg.
Wow. All right. I like it. Just super duper excited.
Yeah.
You, of course, see Orren, who is captain of the Knights of the Crescent, standing in front of all the other newest knights of the realm. And he's giving out all of these different assignments. Most of them are very small because they're brand new knights, right? You need to go check on this person. There's this farm that's having trouble, so go check them out. There's some bandits attacking this road. Go check that out. Things like that. And then he sees you. Diggs! I'm sorry. Sir Diggs, now. Do I have a mission for you? At the point... the North Point, not the South Point. I do have to make a difference. There have been sightings of a wolf.
As soon as Diggs hears that, what almost looks like a bit of twinge of fear kind of shows in the back of his eyes, but then he kind of tries to stifle a little bit, and it just turns into kind of a bit of a grin as kind of like anticipation and excitement starts to show in his eyes.
A terrifying wolf. 3 times as large as a badger, the locals say. Of course, we haven't quite seen it, but they're making quite a big deal about it. Your mission is to go to the north point of the Crescent and fight this wolf. Good luck.
Well, don't worry. Consider the job done.
I'll believe it when I see it. And he gives you another wink.
Oh, you'll see it, and then he kind of flexes some more.
Okay, big guy, let's leave the shirt on. We don't need to bust through that yet.
Were we supposed to be wearing shirts to this? I'm sorry, I lost that memo.
Oh, I just kind of assumed that it... Oh, no, that's definitely your fur. That is not a shirt. You are right. Silly me. Go put your shirt on the one with the emblem of the Crescent that shows you that you're a Knight of the Crescent. Go put that on, Diggs, and go find a wolf. I will see you later.
Yes, sir. I am on my way. Do we have anything that's considered a mount in this area?
Nope. You're just gonna walk there.
Cool. Then, Diggs kind of like, what's the word? Like a hitchhiker. He has like a stick with a bag at the very end. He kind of puts it over one shoulder and with like treats and whatever he needs for the road, and he makes it off down out of the town.
Right. What is Diggs' weapon of preference?
His weapon of preference will be a pole axe. So not like a halberd. It's supposed to be slightly shorter than a halberd, so it can still be used in kind of close quarters. But if need be, he could grip the very end for a little bit more reach. It should have a hammer, an axe head, and then between the two should be like almost like a spear point. So that way it's a more versatile weapon.
Yes, I see what a poleaxe is. Excellent. I like it. Is that what the napkin is tied to? Is it just your poleaxe? Or do you have a poleaxe in one hand and a stick in the other with all your belongings?
I think that'd be a little
redundant.
I think he has it attached to the poleaxe.
Okay. You just have to make sure.
That's fair.
He could be doing weird things.
He would show off and look at all this weight I can carry, a poleaxe and my traveling equipment. He might do that. I can see that. But...
Okay, so this is the part of the session where you just kind of have free reign. So you get to North Point, which is the northernmost point of the Crescent. And so there's a lot of farmland out there, but they're also very suspect to bandit raiders because it's the farthest away from the castle and therefore the farthest away from the barracks and, the law. So out here you'll see a lot of crime of all sorts. Okay. But you get to this place, it's still a thriving city where many different kinds of rodents and vermin live. Mm-hmm. And you are looking for the wolf.
Looking for the wolf. Okay. So, first things first, we need to find some evidence of its rampage. So, where has it been last? Okay. Can Diggs talk to some of the local farmers and that sort of thing to see if anyone can give him any sort of account of what's happening? Like anyone who has suffered from the wolf attacks?
Yeah, you can go out to the farmers and the farmer houses out there, or you can kind of stay in the main central market area, which is kind of the most hustle and bustle about North Point. Mm-hmm. Whichever one you feel like going to.
I feel like the market would probably be a pretty good place to get information.
Okay, so you go to the market. As you walk into the market, there are two rows of just stands of people peddling and selling their wares, their food, things that they have crafted, all kinds of things. And a bunch of families who look much poorer than you do also shopping there. And that's basically it. It's loud, it's crowded, but not as crowded as it is in the capital city where you live.
Greetings, people of the Crescent. I have come here in search of a wolf. Anyone have any information for me?
I am going to have you roll rapport.
Rapport.
For this. Yes. So this is the skill that makes you look likable. Do people like you? Do they instantly trust you? That's what this skill is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. I rolled a 1.
That is a 1, which is average. You are doing an average job of making yourself likable.
Mm.
This is also a point to where you could spend a fate point to invoke an aspect of yours.
I would like to invoke Badger Knight of the Order of the Crescent. I feel like as a knight, I command a certain air of authority, so people might want to talk to me a little bit more.
Yes, I think that checks out absolutely. So you will take away a fate point on your character sheet.
-1.
And you will get a +2 to that roll, which will move you up from a 1 to a 3, which on the fate ladder is good. So now you're doing a good job of making yourself likable. You shout out that you are looking for a wolf, and basically everybody kind of looks down until one person in a stand farther down to your left kind of looks at you and says, "Yeah, I've heard of the wolf."
Oh, do tell.
You're just being loud about it?
Yes. They doesn't know how to be quiet.
The wolf's got good ears everywhere. Come on. Come to the back. Come into my shop. Come to my real shop. And he walks you to a building over to the left.
What is your name, good fellow?
You look at the rat in front of you. You look down slightly, because rats, while some of the bigger creatures within this universe, you as a badger are still bigger. He says, "My name's Bloodclaw. It's good to meet you, sir.
I am Sir Diggs of the Order of the Crescent."
It's nice to meet you, Diggs, Order of the Crescent. How about we just get a little bit more quiet? Once again, ears everywhere of the wolf.
Well, better for him to hear my challenge.
The wolf's a big guy. I mean, you're a big guy, don't get me wrong, but the wolf's a big guy. The wolf's a big guy, and you don't just fight him in daylight. Look, you cross the wolf, he takes away your stuff, he takes your money, he kills your family. He's not a good guy, Diggs.
Ooh, now there's a question. Does Diggs have family?
Does Diggs have family?
I would think so. I think his mom and dad are probably a bit of... Not like... His family would not be the highest of nobility, but definitely not in poverty. Okay. So, like, he would be considered of noble status, but at no point would he be a serious contender for, like, the throne. If that makes any sense.
No, that does make complete sense. Mm-hmm. So how do you react?
I think he would lead into the loud kind of nature of it. He's kind of being very, very green in the night system. Well, where may I meet this wolf? How do I get to know him?
Get to know the wolf. Yeah, you got a sense of humor underneath that big, loud, bombastic voice of yours, don't you?
I've been told before that I might be a little grating.
Yeah, on my eardrums, I believe that wholeheartedly. You don't meet the wolf. Mm-hmm. The wolf finds you, and that's that. The wolf finds you, and from there you either work for him, or you're dead. It's one of the two.
Well, how may I entice the wolf?
Honestly, probably by continuing to do exactly what you're doing.
Oh, perfect. That means I don't have to change. Or?
Or do exactly what you're doing, plus flaunting a lot of cash.
Ooh.
You know, we don't have cash in this society. Let's scratch that. I mean, you should flaunt jewelry, food, things like that.
I have some plants of dried fruits in my pack.
I mean, like the good stuff from the farmers around here. The wolves have painted my side. As much as it is everybody else's here, we want to get rid of the wolf. You look like the biggest thing we've ever seen here in the North Point, so I guess I'll put my stock in you. You know? I'm I think I'm gonna regret it a little bit, but I might not. I think it's worth it. Look, here, I sell jewelry.
Okay.
And he reaches down and he grabs some, a nice, at first he grabs a necklace and he looks at you and goes, nah, it's not you. And then he reaches down and he gets, a nice watch, a portable sundial. He gets it out and then he...
Like in Hercules?
Yeah, exactly. And then, an amulet that's got a nice jewel in it. And if you look closely enough, it's not real. It's fake. It's tourist bait, kind of.
Does he have a cloak? Is this the guy, selling, fake Rolexes off, the side alley?
Yeah, essentially, he's got a trench coat on. As, Bloodclaw is like, here, it's the best I got. It's the best ever. It doesn't even run on batteries. You're gonna love it. Just put this on, put this on.
What are batteries, good sir?
It's, something you get charged with. Something I'm sure you get charged with if you want a Knight of the Realm. Anyways, I'll get you some nice cheese or something, and...
Ooh.
Do
you have Gouda? It is my favorite.
Yeah, it's Gouda cheese, huh? I'll see if I can hook you up. You're doing a big favor, but I think you need to go talk to the other guys out there at the shops as well.
Mm-hmm.
See if anybody can spread the word about a big spender or something. I'm not big with the wolf, but maybe Marty down on the other side of the aisle, 3 stands down. You could talk to him or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna leave town for a little bit since you're gonna fight the wolf. Nice meeting you, Diggs.
Nice to meet you too, Bloodclaw. Fare thee well.
All right. I'll see you later. And with that, he kind of takes all of his bad jewelry and kind of puts it into a sack and then throws it over his shoulder and he just walks out the door.
Okay.
With his trench coat on, of course. Hello everyone, this is Aubrey, your GM. I just have a few quick announcements and then we're going to get you right back into the action. So, 1, some social media. We have a Twitter, @MouseDagcast. You can follow us and we will have news about new episodes and eventually a few giveaways that we're really excited about. Everything for your If You Give a Mouse a Dagger needs. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is If You Give a Mouse a Dagger. The second thing is that we are going to be at PodCon next weekend with the Positive Thoughts Podcast Network, which we are a part of. So if you're going to go to PodCon, stop by and say hi at our table. It's just Positive Thoughts. We have a lot of stickers. We have listening stations for you to try our other podcasts, things like that. So just come by and say hi because we would absolutely love to meet you. Last thing that we ask, as we're starting up this podcast and rearing up to get to the first full episode, we would love it if you would tell a friend about it. It's just the only way to really grow the show. We're trying to make sure that this is a product that a lot of people like because we love making it, and so it would be great if you just told a few friends to give a listen. We've really appreciated the positive feedback that we've gotten so far, and so thank you so much for being a listener. Anyways, let's get back to the episode right now.
Diggs would go out and try to find Marty, and then try to sow some rumors that he is a big spender, but not in a very coy kind of way. He's definitely yelling out in the middle of the market, "Oh, all this jewelry that I have! It'd be quite a shame if someone would take it from me. Oh no, I'm so careless with my jewelry."
A lot of people don't even look at you; they just kind of think you're crazy. But a few people take notice and they pull you over and they say, "What are you trying to do right now? Are you trying to get us killed? Are you trying to get the wolf here? Are you trying to get us killed?"
"Well, no, sir, I do not want to get you killed, but I want the wolf to come to me so I may vanquish it. Though if you have fear, please leave the square." And he starts saying that throughout the square. "I'm trying to get the wolf. So if you do not want to get in the crossfire, please vacate the square."
Okay, hey, whoa, chill, come. Can you bend down here? Says the mouse in front of you. Can you bend down here a little bit?
Why, yes. Why,
Big
yes,
guy.
young.
Okay, good. Hey, the wolf's not gonna come out in broad daylight. He's
So he's a
night
coward!
predator. No, he's a night predator.
Coward.
You can yell that, but wait until we're done with business. Let's go to sleep. Look, you see that? You see Mary over there? Mary. She's got kids. She gets caught up in the wolf, her kids die. It's not good. He shows up here, he's just gonna kill us all. He's a big dude. He can do it.
Well, so if I wait till dusk and everyone vacates the square, would it be a good time to face the wolf?
Yeah, that would be a good time to do it when I'm not here, standing in between you and the wolf and getting caught in the crossfire. He's huge. His minions are pretty big, too.
Probably small fry. Okay, I shall wait until dusk. You may conduct commerce as you please. And then Diggs just kind of sits down on the chair and some random seat. He pulls out a piece of wood and just starts whittling away until it's dusk.
Okay, because my thought was you were about to sit down, crisscross applesauce in between the two stands and just let people, walk around you as they do things.
Maybe, he's whittling, away in the middle of the square in, the most traveled, pathways and making people go around him, and he's just kind of whittling away as this wood.
Yeah, that seems like Diggs just making his scene. Okay, yeah, that's great. The sun sets and everybody goes home, and I'm assuming that at this point, Diggs is just going to start saying things very loudly.
Well, this is a fine goose that I made. I shall put this away for later. Wolf, where are you, so I may face thee? Surely you're not a coward. I have all this fancy jewelry that you would like.
I want you to roll provoke.
Oh, I'm good at this. I
All
rolled
right.
a 4.
A 4 is good. In fact, it's great. So great that you hear behind you coming from one of the stands.
You just see as the anticipation and this almost adrenaline start to flow through him as his eyes start to kind of narrow a little bit, and the smile kind of creeps on his face. He pulls out his poleaxe from on his back and holds it in both hands, and he's just looking around waiting for the wolf.
You've got a lot of nerve coming into my territory, Badger.
Well, I have a lot of nerves. That's how I use my muscles.
Yeah, we can have a flexing contest later.
Oh, sir, it is no contest. And Diggs just strikes a pose.
And at that exact moment, when you strike your pose, you see walk from behind the stands a fox. A gray fox. About 1 head taller than you are. Which is insane, because you've never seen a fox as big as a badger, and this one is bigger than you.
Oh, I believe you are also of the canine family, but you are not the wolf that I was expecting.
Yeah, it's a good name, isn't it, for a crime lord, I guess. Maybe not as big as a real one, but just as vicious. And just as willing to kill you.
Whoever your marketing team is, they've done a great job. As opposed for the killing, we will see about that. And Diggs is taking his battle stance. He's kind of pointing the spear tip towards the fox. And then he's kind of looking around, because people kept mentioning henchmen, and he's looking around for henchmen. If it's going to be a 1v1 or is going to be a mob.
Excellent. I want you to roll notice.
Notice. Okay.
Since you're actively looking for henchmen.
I'm actively looking for henchmen. So that is a 1. Can't really invoke Vanquisher of the Great Wolf because it hasn't happened yet.
Yep, hasn't happened yet. So, as you look around, your eyes continually go back to the wolf, who is not what you were expecting. This, being bigger than you and all that. Unless you were expecting a real wolf, in which case I guess this isn't that big of a deal for you.
Oh, see, Eric was expecting a real wolf, but maybe that's also Diggs. I feel like Diggs isn't bright enough to think of it as being some sort of, just term. He was probably also expecting a real wolf, and he actually thought he could take one on.
Yeah, he probably did. So, as you look into the stands to the left, you look at the stands to the right, you don't dare really look behind you all that much, because you look back at the wolf, and then you see him slightly move his head. And then out from each side of you, and then as quick as a flash, you see two rats come at you from both angles, both left and right. And one of them strikes at you with his sword.
Ah, Cretan!
So what's going to happen is that I'm going to roll fight for them, and you are going to roll athletics. And the cool thing is that you have a stunt, which a stunt is an added thing. So aspects describe a character, skills tell you how good they are at things, but stunts tell you how they are different kinds of fighters. So maybe a lot of fighters are very high in athletics or fight, but only Diggs the Bold, well, right now just Sir Diggs, is an army of one. Which means that you are a one-man army, the odds don't matter to you. Whenever you are physically attacked by a mob, opponents in that mob do not get a teamwork bonus to their attacks against you. So these rats that are coming from the left and right of you are not going to get a teamwork bonus from this athletics roll, but they are both going to attack you. So I would like you to roll athletics.
Oh boy. I rolled a 0 total.
Okay, well, this is pretty good then, because they rolled a 1 overall. They rolled a 1. So what that means is that since they rolled a 1 and you rolled a 0, they have 1 shift on you. And you can put that into your physical stress, since this is a physical attack, and take up the 1 harm stress box, or you can convert it into a mild consequence, which is basically a temporary aspect that can only be used against you.
How many minuses is a mild?
2.
2.
So a mild consequence can take up 2 shifts worth.
I might just take the physical for right now, the 1 shift of physical.
Okay, so check off your 1 stress physicals box. Excellent. As one rat strikes at you with his sword, you kind of deftly dodge out of the way by leaning back, almost in a Matrix way. But as you kind of turn around, the other rat gets you with the dagger right into your shoulder. And it slices you. It doesn't really stab into you, but it kind of nicks you a little bit to where you can feel it.
Ah, the thrill of the fight!
What do you do?
This is what I live for! Diggs, as he kind of does, tries to, got the one that stabbed him, like, you first! And he takes his, poleaxe, he kind of swings it behind him, and brings the hammerhead down on the rat's head.
Okay, roll fight.
I rolled a 5. So I bring this hammer down, as I can imagine him, lunging forward to get into my, shoulder, and Diggs pulls that shoulder back and, using the momentum, brings a poleaxe and just crashes it down on his head.
Well, they rolled a 1, so you have 4 shifts on them. So since you have 4 shifts on them, you succeed with style. And so that means you not only get exactly what you wanted, you also get an added benefit. So we can make kind of a situation aspect on top of that.
Can I intimidate the other rat? So the way I just shrugged off the shoulder wound and just immediately came back onto the other rat, would that be enough to spook the other one and make him second guess him attacking me? This could also be you.
I am going to go with absolutely. As you just bring this poleaxe hammer side right down onto the other rat's head. The second rat kind of freezes and then looks quickly at the wolf. And then the wolf kind of snarls a little bit. And then the rat looks back at you.
And I just kind of say back to him, who's closer?
And he hesitates just a little bit. You can tell that he's still going to fight you because he knows the wolf. But he's not happy about doing so. He's not excited about it anymore. This is your chance.
This is my chance. Okay, so seeing him hesitate for the last second, I'm going to pick up the poleaxe, so that way it's like parallel to the ground. I turn to the rat, and then I just shove the spear tip towards the center of the rat's chest.
And I need you to roll fight again.
Ooh, I rolled a 7.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna roll for that. You deal with the rat however you intended to deal with the rat. What does that look like to you?
Through his heart, and just it pops up the other end, and I just quickly shove it back out, and he kind of like falls back onto his feet, and then onto his knees, and then onto the ground.
It's pretty graphic. I dig it.
And then I just stare at the wolf.
So this rat, which you have just impaled, falls to his knees and then onto the ground, and then you look at the wolf. He kind of looks up to the second story of all of the buildings, and he says, "Don't even bother coming out here." And then he turns to you, and he cracks his knuckles and says, "I think I'm gonna have some fun." And he charges.
So you're not a coward! Face me, cretin!
He comes up at you, totally unarmed. Is what you think at first, but as you look at his hand, attached to his actual claws are very long blades, basically short swords, attached to his entire hand as he comes at you. Give me 1 second. So, the wolf has a stunt called Bull Charge, which means that he knows how to use his momentum in a fight. He gets +2 to attack with fight whenever he moves at least one zone unopposed before he attacks with a fist or other weapon. And I'm going to count this as a fist because he is attacking you with his hand, even though it's not a fist, it's a bunch of blades attached to his arm. So, he's going to, as he runs down the stall of stands and just reaches out his right paw and swipes at you. I'm going to need you to roll athletics. And you got a 1. He got a 3, which means he gets 2 shifts on you. So you can either take the second box of your physical stress, or you can convert it into a mild consequence.
What if we convert it into a mild consequence, and it is the right scar on my eye?
So he takes his paw and he swipes at you, and you jump back, but you don't see as he swiftly turns it into kind of an uppercut, and your head is still looking a little bit down, and he just slashes you across your right eye. And your vision starts to turn red as blood starts pouring out of where that was. So I want you to put in your mild consequence slot, I guess, face gash?
Yep. Face gash. There we go.
And that is there. He can use that against you. I can invoke that whenever I want with the wolf. How does Diggs react?
He kind of reels for a second, and he kind of like gives him a grin. So your name is not all talk. And he flips it around to the axe head, and he kind of twirls around the claw that he extended out to gash me, and I want to bring the axe to his neck. So
Okay.
I'll roll fight.
Roll fight.
3.
He also got a 3. So that means that you tie. Which means that either you get what you want, but at a minor cost, or you get a lesser version of what you wanted. And I think, this is something that I can kind of decide, but we can pitch ideas back and forth, that you get him in the shoulder, which is armored a little bit. He's got this piece of armor that kind of goes over both of his shoulders, and you hit that rather than his neck, And it doesn't do any damage, but it does kind of get him off balance for a second. And then what he does as he regains his balance is he reaches out and he grabs you. And he's going to try to throw you into the shops to your left. Just chunk you into them. I need you to roll physique.
Okay. Oh, up close and personal. Exactly how I like it.
And you roll 4, and he rolled a 5.
Oh.
Which means he just gets what he wants. He gets a 5 because I'm invoking the situational aspect shops.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a +2, which takes him from a 3 to a 5 so that he's being successful. And he throws you basically through them. But he also kind of loses his balance and he tumbles through them as well. And you guys end on the other side of the shops with a bunch of cuts and slight bruises. But that's it. And you are in Bloodclaw's shop of terrible, terrible jewelry.
Terrible,
what do you do?
Jewelry. Okay. Grabbing the amulet that he handed me over, I'm going to stretch it over his head, and I want to kind of grapple him to the ground.
That would be a physique roll.
Can I invoke the aspect grappler so I can create an advantage for myself by grappling them?
Yes, you meant stunt, I believe.
Stunt, yes.
So your grappler stunt allows you to have +2 to physique rolls made to create advantages on an enemy by wrestling or grappling them. So we'll say you're trying to create an advantage, which is pinned. Okay, then roll physique.
I'll spend a fate point, so I have 0 fate points, and then I will roll physique. So +2, that's a 3.
Okay, which is good because his was a 0 overall. He did not roll very well. You get your advantage, and you get 1 free invocation of it as you pin him to the ground. He is caught off guard by this, and I'm going to say it's your turn again, as he kind of struggles.
I pull my poleaxe, and I'm grabbing it basically right below the head, and I'm just going to shove it down into his face. And I like to invoke the pin.
Yes. Roll fight.
So, the advantages does what?
Yes, so it's just an aspect that you can invoke, but since you succeeded with style, you get a free invocation of it. So you don't have to spend a fate point, good, because you're out. And so you have a 4 to that roll versus his athletics. Yes. So you had 2. You invoked the aspect pinned, so he can't get away from you, and now you have 4. He rolled a -1 to his athletics roll, which is more than he can handle. So you've taken this necklace, this amulet. You've taken this amulet and you've pinned the wolf to the ground with it, and you take the spear and you just kind of get it right in between where his neck and his shoulder meet, and then he fights for a little bit, and then there's no more wolf.
Oh, you put up a good fight, my friend, but I am the Vanquisher today.
And you walk out into the street, dragging the wolf behind you. And as you do that, you can see people's heads pop out of their homes, and out of their shops, and out of their stores. And then everybody just rushes you. Well, half of them are rushing you. The other half is rushing the corpse of the wolf that they have just found. Because they want their shot at it.
Diggs lets go of the wolf as he's had his turn.
Right.
And he just lets himself
be
carried by the rest of the people.
As they come up to you and they love, thank you, Diggs. That was amazing. We hated the wolf. He was the worst. And all these other things. And you just kind of lose where the wolf is going. The corpse of the wolf is not there anymore. His body is lost to you. And so, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you're taking it back or not. You did your job, and people are going to talk about this for sure. So much so that a merchant walks up to you and says, "Are you coming back to the capital city after this? Is that where you're going?"
Why, yes, sir.
Good. Arthur's the name. Nice to meet you. Diggs, you said your name a lot today. I know you're Diggs. I'm just a humble merchant on my way back to the capital city, and could I travel with you? Me and my wares? I'd feel safer.
Well, of course, I feel like I will love some company to tell my tale of this great battle.
Good. Well, excellent. And you two head back to the capital city. Once you get there, people are asking you how it went. And before you can even answer, Arthur goes, "It was amazing, sirs. You should have seen it. A wolf 3 times the size as Dig. A tooth. Fangs longer than a hair. You know, the rabbit kind. Not the physical, like, hair. Right. We all know. Not like fur. Bigger than ever. It's how he got the scar. It just sliced him barely, but that's it. Maybe some cuts and bruises, but Diggs took down a wolf, fully sized, 3 times bigger than Diggs himself, he did. It was amazing. We're eating it over there. It's disgusting, but we love it." Amazing is, he just walked up boldly and said, "I am Diggs, Badger Knight of the Order of the Crescent, and I will vanquish you." And vanquish he did, sirs. Vanquish he did. It was amazing. And people are like, "Wow, Diggs, that's quite a story. Is it true?"
Well, of course it is, and he kind of, like, pulls off whatever cloth he has over his right eye. "How do you think I got this?" And he starts recounting his teeth, and he pulled, like, a small dagger that he has, like an ornate dagger. He, like, stabs it on the table. His teeth are about this size. He had me for a second, but with some cunning that I used with the amulet that I received earlier, I was able to pin the wretch to the ground and drive my trusty poleaxe through his neck.
Sounds like quite a story. Come! We shall start a feast in your name. Diggs the Bold, Vanquisher of the Great Wolf. I like the name. Don't you?
Well, I feel like it's very fitting.
And you feast and drink and have merriment throughout the night. And Arthur continues to tell your story. He's invited, of course, as the storyteller of the Great Diggs the Bold, Vanquisher of the Wolf, blah, 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 blah. And you have a great time. I'm guessing you continue to kind of boost yourself and boast about your endeavors, of course.
With every telling, it gets a little bit more exaggerated.
Of course it does. And so, that's that. And then a few weeks pass. And people don't talk about it quite as much, but it is a story they still tell on their lips. It's the greatest thing that has happened for a while. Until the king gets sick. King Helgi, the new king of the Crescent, has fallen to the Affliction. And the Knights of the Order of the Crescent have been tasked on finding a cure. And they, of course, have all kinds of things. There's this ancient amulet, there's this ancient doctor, there's this ancient herb, all of these other things that are going on, and they're all claimed by older knights, and the younger knights are supposed to, of course, keep guarding the realm while the older, more experienced knights go out and they try to heal the king. But there's one thing that hasn't been claimed yet, and that's to find the ancient Redwall Abbey, an ancient place of healing that's been lost to time. It's a kid's tale to you. You grew up hearing stories about Redwall, but you know it's not true. But there's a chance it is. And how famous would you be if you were the first person to find Redwall Abbey? Something that's a myth.
Well, fear not, people of the Crescent, for I, Diggs the Bold, Vanquisher of the Great Wolf, will find this fabled Redwall Abbey and cure king of this affliction. I will be on my way post-haste.
And with that, you leave.